Welcome to Social 5 University. This is Jeremiah Stetler, your host today, as we talk about how to make sales on LinkedIn. Now, this is a more advanced tutorial that will talk about some of the intricacies of finding and identifying people on LinkedIn. If you haven't had a chance to see our LinkedIn Fundamentals course, that may be a good precursor to what we talk about today. But our curriculum that we'll touch on is, first of all, understanding LinkedIn from a sales perspective and why it makes sense to invest time in finding and reaching out to individuals via that platform. We'll talk about how to identify prospects using LinkedIn search functions, and we'll focus on three primary search functions, both the free or the basic search. We'll talk about Boolean searches, and we'll also talk about sales navigator searches. We'll talk about some strategies for messaging, which sometimes can be which is the make or break side of prospecting on LinkedIn. We'll offer some power tips for prospecting that you may not have heard about before, and then open up to Q&A for those who are joining us in a live environment. And by the way, if you are joining us live, every Wednesday we have our Wednesday webinar where we give away a $25 gift card. So if you are watching this on Social 5 University, just know you can join us and win some nice cash, right? All right, so let's talk about LinkedIn from a sales perspective. When it comes to generating leads on social media, when we look at leads for B2B business, so business to business operations, 80% of those leads do come from LinkedIn compared to 12.7% that are through Facebook and 6.7% that come through Twitter. So a few things that are good to think about when you say, where do I invest my time? One of the elements that I look at when I'm driving people from LinkedIn to my website, particularly as a lead to my website, of how easily do those individuals convert to a sale. Now, 38% of all B2B marketers generate attributable revenue from LinkedIn, which is 4 times more than Facebook, 19 times more than Instagram. So here's what that means. That if I drive a lead from LinkedIn to my website, I'm more likely to generate attributable sales, an attributable sale from that lead than I would be from Facebook or Instagram. And again, this is in a B2B environment. Let me show you a few other statistics that are worth noting. First of all, that 46% of all social media traffic to B2B websites and blogs comes from LinkedIn, which is why if you've attended our blog seminars, I've talked about how blog content can be so impactful on LinkedIn from a content marketing perspective. Okay, 3 is 3 times as many website visitors convert to leads when they come to LinkedIn, meaning that they come from a LinkedIn platform and they will fill out a sales form. You know that it's their name and email address and phone number, or they go through an online commerce situation. But 3 times more people do that when they come from LinkedIn as opposed to other social media channels. All right, so there's our perspective, that we're stepping back and saying, okay, why do we invest time here? We just know that in a B2B space, LinkedIn can be exceptionally valuable and more valuable than other social media channels in resulting in attributable sales. So let's go over and talk about how to prospect. And I'm going to focus a lot on the search aspect of how do we identify prospects through LinkedIn. And we're going to get into some complex stuff here, but I'll try to keep things as easy to understand as possible, so your eyes don't glaze over and you start hitting your head on the wall or something. But when it comes to LinkedIn, content marketing is great, and content marketing can have a great impact on driving business to your website. But one thing I would like to emphasize is that effective search techniques for finding and networking with people that you're trying to connect with on a business perspective is equally important and may actually be more important than putting together the most amazing content piece that goes on LinkedIn. Okay, so I want to teach you some techniques for finding your ideal market. Now, I would say that before you begin this exercise, I want you to think about who you are trying to find. Identify some commonalities between your target market that will help you find them on LinkedIn, whether it is their place of employment, whether it's their current employment or a place that they've worked in the past. What is their job title? Do they happen to have something that is unique that will help you find them? For instance, insurance agent is a wonderful job title that'll help me find people in a specific industry, whereas CEO provides a massive amount of people out there in all sorts of industries. Now, it's not that a job title like CEO is a bad thing. Oh my goodness, I'm going to show you some ways that you can actually leverage those titles to be able to find decision makers. But what is a job title, and does it help you in the search? Where did they go to school? Okay, particularly as it relates to where you went to school, so you can find some common ground and build a relationship of trust with those individuals. What groups do they belong to? So many of you know that in my past life, I was an investigative reporter. I'm still part of the investigative reporters and editors groups on LinkedIn. Okay, and so if someone were trying to reach out to me from a journalism perspective, targeting me through that group would be great. But is there a group that resonates with your market? Are they part of a state landlords association, right? Or whatever it happens to be dealing with your particular business? Like, are they part of a chamber of commerce, a B&I group, anything that would pull these people together with a corresponding group on LinkedIn? And then what are some of their interests? Now, interest-based marketing tends to work a little bit better on Facebook than it works on LinkedIn, but I'd like you to go through that exercise and say, okay, if I am going after people who invest in real estate, we know that they need to be high net worth individuals, okay? We can search on LinkedIn by income. We also may know that they may be part of a country club, okay? They might be part of they have a golf course membership or whatever happens to be, okay? But I want you to go through that exercise and say, are there elements that tie these people together that help us to find them? Okay, once you've gone through that, let's go into some of the technical aspects of finding individuals. Now, if you have a free LinkedIn account, you can still do some amazing searches. In fact, these first two that I'm going to show you are done through a completely free account. Okay, you'll recognize this. This is your LinkedIn platform where you can click on the search box and you can search for people based upon who they are, on jobs that are open, on companies, schools, groups, any of these types of things you can do some advanced searching for. Now, if I look under people, which is the one that most of the time you'll use, okay, what I like to do is click on all filters, and it gives me all of these different criteria down here on the bottom that I can search for geography, job title, education, employers, interests. So let me show you a little bit more. I'm going to expand the screen and show you kind of what that looks like as you go in. Now, this will have some limiting factors. The free LinkedIn search doesn't provide you with all of the search criteria that you would like. In fact, many times I use our second search that we talk about, our Boolean style search, to be able to get a little bit more detailed. But this makes for a really quick way to see if you can find your audience. Okay, so you can search for current companies that they work at or past companies. In this case, I put the Salt Lake Tribune. Okay, what services do they offer? Where are they located at? Many times I'll run a campaign that is geographically centric because it allows me to seek common ground with the individual geographically. It's all about those connections, okay? I can go after people who are connections of someone else I know. Now, how this might work is, let's say you have some really satisfied customers, okay? And a customer gives you a testimonial and says, hey, I love this business. I'd recommend it to anyone. You then run a LinkedIn campaign to share that testimonial to other people and say, hey, I saw that you were connected with so and so with Jeremiah, and Jeremiah said that I am the whatever the main squeeze. I'm the big Kahuna or whatever the vernacular is these days. Okay, but you can then send a message to the connections of that person who gave a testimonial. You can search by name, by job title, any of these types of things. By language that they are part of, any of that kind of stuff that really isn't super valuable. But I just wanted to introduce you to this because this is how you find individuals based upon a number of different criteria. Now, I would mention, you'll notice that I have multiple criteria selected. So I can do a multivariate search through a free LinkedIn platform, even though I am precluded from using things like seniority level or the size of the company. Some of those types of things are only available through a Sales Navigator search, whereas free option doesn't provide those. So once you determine the search criteria, just hit apply, and it will pull up a list where you can see all of the people who match that criteria, and you can determine, okay, let's see, is Joey Marquette, the senior vice president here, is he the person that I'm trying to look for? He is in Salt Lake, but I can look through this and say, maybe I need to refine my criteria a little bit more, or maybe I need to go after something entirely different, right? But this is how you conduct a basic search. And I'll talk about the messaging once you do that search in just a few minutes, but I can tell you that the next step is the connect button, and we'll tell you how that you can craft messaging that works with when we get to that point. But let's talk about two additional searches. Okay, the second way of searching is called a Boolean search, and if nothing else, now you know what a Boolean is, right? It's a different way of searching that's a little bit more code centric. If anyone has experience writing any code, this will be a super comfortable and easy way to do searches. You probably are already aware of how to do a Boolean search if you've done that. But what it is you'll notice under the LinkedIn search bar, you can type in keywords, but did you know that you can type in a string of keywords? Okay, so I may search for people who are interested in insurance, but what if I could actually search for someone that had a keyword of insurance and Salt Lake City? Okay, and now it becomes a way to have a more specific type of search. Now, when we look at Boolean searches, there are 5 operative words that you should just remember. They're super easy to remember. So this is going to sound really complex, but it's not. Okay, we have an and search that means that when you put in 2 keywords, insurance and Salt Lake, that the search results need to meet both of those criteria. If you use or, then it needs to meet either of those criteria. If you use not, it means that it will use one criteria and not the other one. If you use parentheses, it means that that LinkedIn needs to evaluate that criteria first and then go to your other criteria. Okay, and I'll show you what that looks like. And then parentheses means that it will take a full phrase into account. So Salt Lake City, if I put Salt Lake City in the search results, it's going to find people that have the term salt and lake and city, and I'm going to get a gazillion people that match that criteria, right? But if I put parentheses around it, then LinkedIn says, oh, you're looking for Salt Lake City. Okay? All right, so it's very easy to think about that one. Most of the time when people do Boolean searches, these first 3, skip the parentheses, and the 4th are the ones they typically use. Parentheses are usually the scary ones, and don't worry about it. And more than anything, I just want to introduce you to the concept. So if you're doing a Boolean search, this goes up in the search term box, okay? You'll type in the keywords, and I'll show you what that looks like in terms of a Boolean that will get you what you're looking for. So we'll use this as an example. We have insurance, and we have Salt Lake City, and we want to find people that have these keywords. So if I were to use an and function, insurance and Salt Lake City, notice the and is capitalized. Anytime you use a Boolean search, make sure that you do all caps under the operative word there, okay? If I do that, and Salt Lake City, of course, with the quotation marks, because we want the whole phrase, we're only going to get the people who have the overlap between these two search terms, okay? Because they need to meet both. Well, what happens if I change that and to a or, okay? If I change it to an or, then I'm going to get everything. People who match insurance or people who match Salt Lake City, but they don't have to be connected in any way. What happens if I change that to a not operation? Insurance, not Salt Lake City. I get everyone insurance except for the people who happen to be in Salt Lake City. Okay? Does that make sense? I mean, hopefully that is kind of ringing true to you right now. All right, so that's kind of a look at how a basic Boolean search looks like. And so if I were to type this, and I would type it right up in this search box, okay, I would type in insurance agent and Salt Lake City, meaning that if someone has this full phrase, because it's in quotation marks, and this full phrase in quotation marks, it's going to pull up that search. Here's one that's a little bit more advanced, okay? I want to pull up people who are insurance agents in Salt Lake City. So they have to match those two criteria. And then I exclude anyone who has State Farm in their profile, okay? And then here's one that's super complex, okay? Insurance agent or insurance broker and Salt Lake City, not State Farm, okay? And so you'll see I use parentheses again to define what the search criteria would be. Now, don't worry about that one. That one's like professional level Boolean searching. And some of these Boolean searches can be massive in length, but this is the top one that I want you to be aware of, because you can find keywords that won't be available simply by clicking people, jobs, content, companies. This one provides an unlimited field of keywords based upon what anyone puts in their profile. So that's search method number 2. We talked about free, we talked about a Boolean search, and then the last one I want to talk about is Navigator, Sales Navigator, which is a paid service. I use it, I think it's great, and it can help with simplifying some of the search results and unlocking areas that you wouldn't have access to any other way. Even through a Boolean search, you wouldn't have access to it this way. So here's Sales Navigator. You'll find it in the top right side of your LinkedIn bar there. Okay, and so if I click on Sales Navigator, you'll see a variety of terms that you can search for under the free service, like seniority level. Are they a management level position? Are they a CEO? Well, you can search under CEO. You just can't search under what level of seniority. If they're a senior level position, a decision maker. You can search under function, what department they're in their company. That's, again, a Sales Navigator specific search. What groups they're part of. If you're under a free profile, you have to be a member of a group to actually search it. If you have Sales Navigator, you can go in and search any group without membership and advertise to those individuals. Company types, if they're in a particular industry, or the headcount in that company. Now, here's what I want to show you is when we go through and we identify those search criteria, okay, and I click on those, it will pull it up. This is under seniority level, that I want to find people who are partners in their company, but I don't want people who are entry level in their company. So what you do is you simply click the level of seniority you would like to search for, hover your cursor over that blue field or that red field, and you'll notice, whoops, there we go. You'll notice that there is a plus sign or a no smoking sign, whatever that is, okay, where you can choose to exclude it or to include it in your search. And so essentially, if we think about how we just talked about Boolean searches, this is your AND function, and this is your NOT function, okay? So it allows you to do that to have a highly targeted multivariate search for the people that you're going after. And then it will show you how many individuals match those search results. So in this case, I've got 3 million potential prospects that I could go after. Usually I like to narrow that down more. 3 million is way too many. Okay, but if I can get it down to a search of 3,000 or 5,000, then I know that I've got a pretty qualified group of individuals. All right, so those are the search tactics and techniques. That's what I wanted to spend the vast majority of our time on here today. But let's talk a little bit about sales messaging, because this will be equally impactful once you do connect with individuals who match your search criteria. So the important part of LinkedIn prospecting is that you seek a connection between you and the person you're trying to reach. Okay, so for me, I have a background at the Salt Lake Tribune. If I know someone that is part of the Salt Lake Tribune, that's great. I can bring up that connection. Or if I'm in the same state, if I'm in Utah, the Salt Lake Tribune can be a good way to open a dialogue. I can look at people who graduated from Utah State, alumni, and there is a really amazing secret I'll show you here at the end of this session on how to target alumni. Okay, people like I lived in Denmark and I speak Danish, and so being able to target other individuals from Denmark, that's like a terrible idea. Like, who in the world? How many people actually have a background in Denmark? But there might be some, okay? Or you see the Suzanne Collins books or the Hunger Games. Look for just things, anything to be able to show a genuine interest in the individual. So let's begin. You'll notice this from when we did our initial search terms. You'll come up with a list of individuals matching your search criteria, and you can click on the connect button, which will allow you then to send them a connection request. So here's what it looks like. You'll get this box. Your invitation to Pepper is on its way. You can add a note to personalize your invitation. Always, always, always add a note. Okay. If you just click done, you're going to have the lousiest connection rate ever. Okay. And so click add note, and then put in a note that is something that seeks to connect with them. You have 300 characters. But like this one says, "Hi Pepper, remember me from the Tribune. I run a social marketing agency in Salt Lake City these days. If you have time, I would love to reconnect. I wonder if our companies could help each other. Talk to you soon." Okay, so you'll notice in there that I sought a couple different areas of connection. One, I put that we worked together at the Tribune before. We are both in Salt Lake City. Okay, whatever you can do to help build a relationship of trust is what's important. Now, you may be thinking, well, how do I do this in a scalable way if I'm using technology? Look for ways that connect the people that you're reaching out to through a scalable, automated approach. That can help you there, but connection requests are most often accepted when there is some level of commonality that is expressed in that request. Okay, so once you send this request, some will respond. Okay, and when those responses come in, they'll pop right up into that messenger button on your profile that you can see up here at the top. You can see one that responded to me recently. "Kiko, hello Jeremiah, sounds good. Let's talk." And that gives me an opportunity then to connect with a message. Okay, and I now have access to message them whenever I would like on LinkedIn. I can also generally pull their contact information, their phone number, and their email address. So here are some things to think about when you're going into that messaging campaign. Okay, rules of engagement: demonstrate genuine interest in the individual by noting something from their profile. Okay, very important. Avoid hard sell messaging in your first interaction with a prospect. Seek to build a relationship first and to sell second. Number 3, keep things short. This is where I fall. This is where I have a problem. Paragraphs are a turnoff for cold prospects. I tend to overwrite. I'm the guy that when I was in the newspaper business, I got a note on my desk from my editor who said, it was a scripture actually, and it said, "And I was forbidden to write more." Number 4, don't make the prospect work for the sale. Calendly links are an efficient tool for automation, but they will dramatically decrease your conversion rate. And then end with a question that seeks to continue the conversation. All right, so let's show you a few power prospecting tips before we wrap things up. I mentioned searching for alumni, which gives you an automatic common ground with those individuals. That can be found through linkedin.com/edu/alumni, and take a look at what happens. Okay, it pulls up a page with your university, and you can search for those 89,000 alumni for various things. I could search how many insurance agents are part of it. Can I see all those insurance agents? What about realtors who went to Utah State? What about accountants? I can do all of that stuff through LinkedIn prospecting, okay? Just by doing this type of search. Super, super effective. Next power prospecting tip, look for decision makers in the companies that you are targeting specifically. This is my favorite, and I use this all the time. In fact, in the last 2 weeks, I think I've used it upwards of 30. It's been at least 30 times in the last 2 weeks as I've been going after a prospect list. But you'll pull up the company page on LinkedIn, and then notice right here there's a See All Employees link. So if you went to the Social 5 one, you'd be able to see all 52 employees. And notice what's on the side. You can actually connect with our CTO, our Director of Content, with our CEO, with our Chief Marketing Officer. This has been a wonderful tool for me to engage in strategic conversations with fellow executives in other companies. So really a remarkable tool. And then the last one for today is use technology to assist in the sales process. There are a variety of tools out there, including one that Social 5 offers. It looks it looks exactly like this, that allows you to have some assistive technology to better reach out and engage with people by viewing profiles, by sending messages, sending connection requests, monitoring all of that interaction through an inbox. These can help you to scale your operation in ways that are a little bit harder through just day-to-day guerrilla warfare. All right, so if you are joining us live, we are about to name the winner of our $25 Amazon gift card. If you're joining us through Social 5 University, please come visit us the next Wednesday for our next Wednesday webinar, and you'll have a chance to win too. So if you have any questions, we've got a gazillion videos on university.social5.com that can help you, or you can reach out to us at support@social5.com. Thank you so much. Happy prospecting and good luck going forward.